First Lady of the United States. Of ice cream, a pint of Ben Jerry's in every freezer. Let me thank all of those who have spoken and all of you who have come out today. It's a great turnout, and I appreciate it very, very much. Today, I want to welcome you unprecedented moment in American history to a campaign which is going to win the Democratic nomination. For too long, the working people of this country have been ignored, and we are going to change that. We know that over half of Americans today are living paycheck to paycheck in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. You know what that means, living paycheck to paycheck? I do know, because I grew up with a family that lived paycheck to paycheck. And what that means is that if your car breaks down today and you don't have $500 to get that car fixed, you can't get to work. And if you can't get to work, you lose your income. And if you lose your job and your income, you can't take care of your kids. That's what living paycheck to paycheck is about. Living paycheck to paycheck is about is worrying that if you or a family member gets sick and ends up in the hospital, you will go bankrupt because you can't afford to pay that hospital bill. When we talk about economic justice, we are talking about ending a situation where the younger generation of today, for the first time in American history, will have a lower standard of living than your parents. Younger people are looking at more debt. They're looking at lower real wages. They're finding it harder to afford a home of their own. Well, I have got 4 kids and 7 grandchildren. I do not believe in downward mobility. I believe in upward mobility. So what this campaign is about is bringing the working people of this country together, black and white and Latino and Native American and Asian American. We are sick and tired of the greed of unfettered capitalism. We are sick and tired of seeing our people work 2, 3, 4 jobs while 49% of all new income goes to the top 1%. We Americans in California and Vermont and around this country will be sleeping out on the streets tonight. We are tired of a dysfunctional child care system where moms and dads cannot find affordable quality child care when the top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 92%. So today we say to the 1%, and today we say to corporate America, stop the greed. You cannot have it all. This country belongs to all of us, not just the few. Arkansas. Know why I'm going to Arkansas? Because that is the location of the headquarters of Walmart. And I have been invited by workers at Walmart to say a few words at the National Walmart Board of Directors meeting in representing their interests. Let me tell you what we're talking about. Walmart is owned by the wealthiest family in America, the Walton family. They are worth about $175 billion. And yet this family, the wealthiest family in America, pays its workers wages that are so low that many of those workers are forced to go on food stamps, Medicaid, and public housing. And you know who pays for those food stamps and Medicaid and public housing? You do. A rigged economy is about when the wealthiest family in the country pays its workers starvation wages and it's being subsidized by the working families of this country. So today and on Wednesday, we will say to the Walton family, we are no longer going to provide corporate welfare for you. Pay your workers a living wage. Tell you, 4 years ago when I was here in California, I want to thank the people of California for the great support you gave us. We got more votes here than any place else. And I don't want to get my opponents nervous. We're going to win here in California. Here in California, we introduced a platform to the American people that many in the media establishment and many in the political establishment said, it's too radical, it's too extreme, the American people won't support it. Well, we ended up winning 22 states, 13 million votes. Getting more votes from young people, black and white and Latino, than Clinton and Trump combined. And most importantly, those ideas that just 4 years ago seemed so radical have now been overwhelmingly supported by the American people, and almost every candidate running, from door catcher to president, now supports our agenda. In other words, 4 years ago, we began the political revolution. This campaign, we finalized the political revolution. Never takes place from the top on down, always from the bottom on up. That is the history of the labor movement, the history of the civil rights movement, the history of the women's movement, the history of the gay movement, the history of the environmental movement. What this campaign is about is bringing millions of people together to take a hard look at what's going on in this country and to stand up and fight back and demand real fundamental changes to the way we do business. In this campaign, we are taking on Wall Street, because we are going to break up the large financial institutions that have wreaked havoc on the society. We're taking on the drug companies, and we're going to cut the cost of prescription drugs by half in America. We are taking on the insurance companies, but we are, whether they like it or not, going to bring a Medicare for all single-payer program to America. Taking on the fossil fuel industry. And we will tell them that their short-term profits are not more important than the future of this planet. Donald Trump thinks he is going to win re-election by dividing the American people up, as demagogues always do, by the color of our skin, by where we were born, by our gender, by our religion, or by our sexual orientation. Well, this campaign is going to do exactly the opposite. This campaign is going to bring the American people together to stand up to the powers that be. And I'll tell you one of the things we're going to do. We are going to end a corrupt political system in which billionaires buy elections. States of America, we believe in democracy, one person, one vote. We are going to end this crazy gerrymandering which goes on all over the nation. And we are going to end the outrageous level of voter suppression taking place coast to coast. And let me say to you what I have said all over this country. I have run in elections in Vermont. Sometimes I've won and sometimes I've lost. But it has never occurred to me to ever try to figure out who might vote against me and make it harder for those people to participate in the political process. So I say to those Republican governors all over this country who are trying to make it hard for people of color, for poor people, for young people to vote, what I say to them is if you cannot participate in a free, fair, and open election, get the hell out of politics and get out of the vote. We should make it as easy as possible for people to participate, not make it harder. We want America to have the highest voter turnout of any major country, not one of the lowest. We want to make it easier for young people who are the future of this country to get involved in the political process. Some issues that have been on the front pages in recent days. They are issues of concern to all of us. As you know, in states like Alabama and in Georgia, draconian legislation has been passed and signed which would prevent the women of this country from controlling their own bodies. Now, in my view, a woman's right to control her own body is a constitutional right, and we will defend that right. I have been asked whether I will have a litmus test regarding who I will nominate to the Supreme Court, and the answer is I do. I will never nominate anyone who is not prepared to vigorously support Roe versus Wade. Let me say a word to the men who are here today. This is not just a woman's issue. This is an issue for all of us, and the men have got to stand with the women. There's been another issue that's been out there. Lately, I've been criticized by some in the media for my views on foreign policy and military policy. So let me tell you what I have told America. I make no apologies as a young person. I make no apologies as a young person long before I was elected to anything for marching with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. against Vietnam. That war went a long way toward destroying my generation. 59,000 brave men went off to Vietnam and did not come home, and many more did come home, wounded in body, wounded in spirit. God knows how many committed suicide when they got home, and some of them are sleeping tonight on the streets in California. I make no apologies to anyone when, as a member of the U.S. House from Vermont, I helped lead the effort to try to stop the war in Iraq. I make no apologies to anyone for leading the effort in the United States Senate, so that for the first time in 45 years we were able to utilize the War Powers Act to win on the floor of the House and the floor of the Senate a vote to get the U.S. out of the Saudi-led war in Yemen. Yemen is a small, poor country which is right now experiencing the worst humanitarian disaster on the planet. We should be providing humanitarian help to those struggling people, not more bombs. And let me also say, I make no apologies today for doing everything I humanly can to stop what John Bolton and some in the Trump administration want, which is a war in Iran. And if you think a war in Iraq was a disaster, a war in Iran will be worse. It will lead to perpetual warfare. Our kids, our grandchildren, never-ending war. Together, we must do everything that we can to try to stop international conflicts through diplomatic means, not war. What is imperative in this moment in history is not just defeating Trump, and we've got to do that, but it is having a vision of a society that works for all of us. Too many people feel ignored. Too many people are working longer hours for lower wages. Too many people can't afford childcare. Too many people are leaving school deeply in debt. Too many people have no health care. And they are saying, who cares about us? What this campaign is about, all of us standing together and caring about each other. This campaign is about finally doing what every other major country has done and making clear that health care is a human right, not a privilege. Health care for all, Medicare for all, single payer. The campaign is going to tell the pharmaceutical industry we are ending their greed. Last year, the top 10 drug companies made $69 billion in profits, and 1 out of 5 Americans cannot afford the medicine their doctors prescribe. Together, we're going to cut drug prices in half in America. campaign is about saying that if you work 40 hours a week in America, you are not going to be living in poverty. 7 states, including California, have raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And as president, we're going to raise the national minimum wage to $15 an hour. And by the way, we believe in equal pay for equal work. Women should not receive 80 cents on the dollar compared to men. And we believe in the trade union movement. And we're going to make it easier for workers to join unions, not harder. And we are going to create up to 15 million jobs by rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure. It is unbelievable but true that there are thousands and thousands of homes right here in California and in other states around America where when people turn the tap on in their kitchen, the water that comes out is toxic and not drinkable. In America, in your home, you should have clean drinking water. We're going to make that happen. And when we talk about infrastructure, it's not just roads and bridges and water systems. It is affordable housing. This is America. Half of our people should not have, in America, we should not have millions of people spending 50% of their limited incomes on housing. We can put a lot of people to work building the affordable housing we desperately need. And when we talk about education, we are talking about a revolution in the way we do education in this country. Every psychologist will tell you that the most important years of human development are 0 through 4. And that is why we will have quality, universal, affordable childcare for every family in America. And when we talk about education, we know that K through 12 free public education is not good enough. That's why we are going to make public colleges and universities tuition free. Right now in America, over 40 million people, including many in this room, are struggling with outrageous levels of student debt. Am I right? We're going to end that. People should not have to pay off outrageous levels of student debt for the crime, the so-called crime of getting a higher education. Several weeks ago, I'm often told by my critics, they say, Bernie, you're a nice guy, you're promising free public education through college, you want to forgive student debt, how are you going to pay for all of these things? Well, I will tell you how. 10 years ago, the American people bailed out the crooks on Wall Street to the tune of $1 trillion. Well, if we could bail out Wall Street can now help the working families in this country. And that is why we have will impose a transaction tax on Wall Street speculation. to cut Social Security. They give tax breaks to billionaires, and then they say we got to cut Social Security. Well, we got news for them. We are not going to cut Social Security. We're going to expand Social Security. And let me say a word on what may end up being the most important issue of all, because the future not only of our country but the world hangs in the balance on whether or not we are going to effectively combat climate change. Today we have the unbelievable, it really is quite unbelievable. Scientific community tells us that we have all of 12 years, not a long time, to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy, or else, they say, there will be irreparable harm to the planet. Irreparable harm that cannot be undone. And yet we have a president and a fossil fuel industry who lie every single day. It seems to me that the issue we're dealing with here is not only an existential threat to our planet, it is a deeply moral issue. And that is the need to leave this planet to my 7 grandchildren and to future generations in a way that is healthy and habitable. And when we transform our energy system through a Green New Deal, we will create millions of good-paying jobs in transportation, in weatherization, in energy efficiency, and in sustainable energy. Now here is my dream, and I don't know if it is achievable or not, but let me lay out a dream to you. And that dream is that at a time when the countries of the world are now spending about $1.5 trillion on weapons of destruction designed to kill each other. As your president, I will do my best to bring the countries of the world together to cut that military spending and use that money to combat climate change. China and Russia and India and Latin America and Africa and the United States are coming together to say we are going to save this planet for our children and our grandchildren. And there's another issue that goes to my gut. And there's an issue that we have to deal with, and that is a broken criminal justice system. All of you know that in our great nation, the wealthiest nation on earth, we have more people in jail, disproportionately Black and Latino and Native Americans, more people in jail than any other country on earth. Spending $80 billion a year to lock up fellow Americans. So today we say through the prison industrial complex, whether you like it or not, we will bring about real criminal justice reform. Instead of spending billions to lock up fellow Americans, we are going to use that money to invest in our young people, in jobs and education. A kid who has a good job and good job training and good education is not going to end up in jail. It costs more money to put a kid in jail than send him to the University of California. Let's invest in our kids. And together, we are going to end the disgrace of private prisons and detention centers in this country. Corporations should not make profits by locking up fellow Americans. And together, we are going to end the horrifically destructive war on drugs. 4 years ago, when I was here in California, and we talked about decriminalizing or legalizing the possession of marijuana, that was thought to be a very radical idea. Ain't so radical today. The people have spoken, and state after state is legalizing marijuana. And a number of communities are actually doing the right thing and expunging the records of those who are arrested for possession of marijuana. Too many lives have been destroyed because of our broken and racist criminal justice system, and together we're going to end that system. I want to touch on another issue that I know is very important here in California, and it's important all over this country, and that is an equally broken immigration system. Yesterday, I was in Las Vegas, and I met quietly with 30, 35 young people. Many of them were undocumented. And what they explained to me is the fear that they feel and experience every single day, worrying about whether they or somebody in their family is going to be arrested and deported. A young man told me that some years ago, 17 I think, told me that a few years ago he was in a car, and the car was stopped by a police officer, and the police officer looked at them and said, "Are you documented or undocumented? Are you legal or not?" And they lied. Father lied and said we were documented. And the police officer said, "Okay, have a nice day." But what he understood is that police officer on that day was not feeling particularly warm. That police officer could have arrested them and deported much of their family. And that is the situation for millions of people in this country, worrying every single day whether they will be deported or not. And then on top of that, they turn on the television, and you got a racist president who is demonizing the undocumented in this country. So what our job is several. Number one, we must move forward toward comprehensive immigration reform and a path toward citizenship for those who are undocumented. Number two, we need to once again provide immediate legal protection for the 1.8 million young people in the DACA program. Number three, we need to develop a humane border policy for those who seek asylum. America must never be the country where babies are snatched from the arms of their mothers. That is not what this country is about. Brothers and sisters, we are here today because we face an unprecedented political challenge. And it is not quite clear in which direction this country will go. On one hand, under Trump, we will continue the drift toward oligarchy, in which a handful of billionaires have enormous power over our economic and political life. Under Trump, we will continue the drift toward an authoritarian government with a president who either does not understand the Constitution or has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. That is one direction. But we are united in saying that we are not going to go down that path. We have a different vision for America. Different vision. And our vision is a vision which believes in democracy, a vibrant democracy, where we respect each other's point of view, but where billionaires are not buying elections. Our vision is respect for the Constitution, not movement to an authoritarian form of society. Our vision is economic justice, where all of our men, women, and children, young and old, can enjoy a decent standard of living with decent jobs, decent health care, and an environment which is healthy, not toxic. Now let me conclude by telling you what very few, if any, other candidates will tell you. And that is that no president, not Bernie Sanders or anybody else, can do it alone. Because to bring about real change in this country, it's not just defeating Donald Trump, it is taking on the entire corporate power structure of this country. Wall Street banks, we're going to have to take on enormous power in Wall Street. If we want Medicare for all, we're going to have to take on the drug companies and the insurance companies. If we want to transform our energy system, we have to take on the fossil fuel industry. If we want to cut military spending, we have to take on the military-industrial complex. If we want and will have the wealthiest people and largest corporations paying their fair share of taxes, we have to take on the 1%. Yes. So what this campaign is about is not just winning the Democratic primary. We've got to do that. It's not just defeating Trump. We must do that. But it is taking on the greed of powerful special interests who think they own this country. What we are saying today is that the working people of this country, black and white and Latino, Native American, Asian American, have had it up to here. We want decent paying jobs. We want health care for all. We want to make sure our kids get all the education they need. We want a clean environment. We want equal pay for equal work. We want to address the crisis of climate change. We want criminal justice reform. We want immigration reform. And brothers and sisters, if we are prepared to stand up to a president who is trying to divide us up, if we are prepared to stand together, not only will we win the White House, but together we will transform this country, which is what we have to do. Thank you all very much.